It is a big challenge to do a product review when we have limited information on the official Asus website. There is almost nothing about the second version of the ROG Delta headphones. At the same time, it is a bigger responsibility because this will be the first video review here in the world, at least at the time of writing the review, and I hope that in 2 to 3 days nothing significant has changed. In the beginning of the review, I mentioned that our information is limited, and I apologize in advance if I present information that is not correct. I did my best to research and test the ROG Delta 2 headphones in detail. The first impression is that these headphones are the successor to the ROG Delta S model, with a slightly improved sound image and more connection options, since the Delta 2 has 3 audio outputs via a standard 3.5mm cable. Then we have Bluetooth and a USB dongle connection that works at 2.4 gigahertz. The headphones are one of the few to have support for 2 simultaneous connections and separate volume control buttons. Logically, the package includes a headset with standard built-in protein leather pads, braided and high-quality cables for the 3.5mm audio connection, and a USB-C to a cable for charging only. If you're wondering if you can use the headphones in USB mode, the answer is no. The cable is for charging only. One of the illogicalities is that this cable comes with a USB-C to A adapter, which is actually not intended for the cable that comes with it, but for the USB-C dongle, which increases the versatility of the dongle itself, which is why you can connect these headphones via the 2.4 GHz connection via USB-C and USB-A connections on your device. The package also includes a microphone, booklets with clear instructions on how to use the device and the warranty, and of course what I liked the most were the replacement ear pads, which I am a big fan of. The build quality of the Delta model in the second version has improved a lot. The headphones are mostly made of plastic, except for the headband and the speaker holders. They are very light, and under your hand you have the feeling that it is a premium product, which the headphones are. The headband can be adjusted in 10 steps, and the inner part that touches your head is made of 2 parts with these plastic separators. The upper part that touches your head is very comfortable and well made. The sponge is pleasant to touch, and underneath, if you squeeze it a little harder, it seems like there is a ribbed surface to make the headband cover more solid and durable. ROG has done some thoughtful things, and this part, after the gray plastic where the screws are, the headband has been additionally reinforced with very strong plastic, because if you think about it, this part has no contact with your head at all, and there is no need for it to be a sponge in its entirety. So with this move, they have additionally reinforced the headphones, more precisely the part around the headband. The speaker holders have metal characteristics. They can be rotated 180 degrees on the outside so that the headphones can be placed on the table, but the inside does not allow full rotation. The shells are very nicely designed. They are symmetrical. They have a protrusion for RGB lighting, both for the logo and for the band that surrounds it. The speakers have a separate control on them. The left one is intended for wireless connection via a frequency of 2.4 GHz, with a sound control wheel that is clickable and serves to mutate the microphone. There is a functional multimedia button that, if you hold it for 5 seconds, turns on and off the RGB lighting. If you hold your finger on the button for 15 seconds, will reset the headphones to factory settings. On the bottom right is the on-off button and the USB-C slot for charging the headphones. The right speaker is reserved for the button to control Bluetooth functions with a volume wheel, while the bottom has a slot for a 3.5mm audio connection. As for the connections, they complicated things a bit, even though we have a built-in DAC, because without it these headphones would not work in wireless mode. We still do not have a USB audio connection, and we have a USB-C slot on the headphones. I think the main reason is that they would have to wire the drivers, and that would destroy the identity of the headphones. The first connector is a 3.5mm output, which is primarily intended for mobile devices that have both audio and microphone through one connector. Unfortunately, there are fewer and fewer phones with a 3.5mm audio connector. If you want to use it on a computer via the 3.5mm audio port, you'll need an additional adapter or Y-splitter to separate the channels. It's a shame they didn't include this in the package. One of the glitches I found is that you can't actively use the 3.5mm audio port and RGB at the same time, because using this audio output requires turning off Bluetooth and RF connectivity, and RGB for some reason only works when one of the wireless connections is active. I don't see any logic. We already have a battery and a function to turn the RGB on and off, but it only seems to work when the headphones are used in wireless mode. They also advise that if you use the headphones with a cable, you should not leave them on the charger at the same time. So I assume it has something to do with the battery and the heating during charging, which I felt on my head during these hot days. Because of these things, it is clear to us that the headphones are intended to be used wirelessly. For the RF connection, you have a USB-C dongle with a USB-A adapter and Bluetooth for another type of connection, and when you turn on any wireless mode, the wired one is automatically turned off, and on the computer, there is no longer an option for 3.5mm audio output. I noticed right away that the independence of the buttons per connection is very good, because you can control two different sound sources separately. For example, you can use headphones on your computer via RF connection and Bluetooth for your phone. If you have a call, you can answer the call with one click and mute the audio from your computer with another. As for the microphone, it is shared by all three modes, and from what I tried, I concluded that Bluetooth has an advantage. So when there are two simultaneous calls, the microphone works on the Bluetooth connection. When the microphone is turned off, the clearly visible red light on it lights up. It's in the field of view, and it bothered me a little. Not that I can't use headphones because of the microphone. Asus boasts that the headphones can be used for up to 110 hours via RF connection without RGB lighting, which is an enviable autonomy. There is no precise way for me to verify this, as the headphones have no battery level indicator other than when they are below 20% and when they are connected to the charger. If the RGB lighting and wireless are on at the same time, the headphones will last much shorter and you will have to charge them more often. I've spent a lot of time talking about features and connections, but I think if you're willing to spend almost $200 on a pair of headphones, you should know everything about them before you buy, and that's from a neutral point of view. The general impression is that the head and ears did not complain. The headphones are very light and comfortable, and this is due to the excellent headband, 2 pairs of easily replaceable pads, such a light clamping force, and the incredible lightness of the headphones. It's been a long time since I've put something more comfortable on my head. However, in this whole positive story, there is also a negative one, which is that headphones with a little more shock can move, not to mention fall off your head. It's time to talk about the sound quality of the Rog Delta 2 headset. The overall impression is that the headphones are intended for the general public, without going to extremes. It was very interesting to use a pair of headphones that have a little more bass at the end, which gives you an extra advantage in games that often produce such sounds. You can hear, how shall I put it, extra depth, but with intact reproduction quality. The mid-range is very precise, and the transition from mid-range to treble is even better. The 50mm titanium diaphragm drivers produce quite high-quality highs that are a bit too prominent for my taste, but when the whole picture is put together, as I said, the headphones are intended for the general public, of course, who has the money to spend on such a piece of peripherals. There is almost no difference in the connections. The headphones have the most dynamic sound image through the 3.5mm cable. Then, I would prefer the RF connection, while through Bluetooth I have the feeling that the sound is a bit compressed. I repeat, this is my personal impression, and it is very difficult to work when the area is not exact, but you have to rely on personal impression. If you're wondering when the headphones will be available, the Rog Delta 2 has been announced worldwide for the 3rd quarter of this year. The price is still unknown, but some information on the internet says that the headphones will have a recommended price of $200, which is not a small amount. ROG is a brand where you always pay a little more, but in 95% of cases you are sure of what you are getting. There are exceptions that I have felt on my own skin. It is also certain that Asus, in its top brand, does not try to be cheaper than others, which is perfectly fine from their point of view, and they talk about it publicly and make it clear to all of us that there are people who can afford ROG products and people who can't. It's up to you, and you work on yourself. So you can put yourself in a group so you can easily say, I have money, but I'm not going to buy these headphones.
In general, the ROG Delta 2 is a step forward, the production is better, the sound image is better tuned, we have a much larger number of connectors, and the main advantage lies in the fact that you can use 2 audio connectors at the same time. Thank you once again for your time. You know that your comments are very important to us, so please let us know what you think of the ROG Delta 2 headphones. See you soon!